Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Monday, February 20th, 2023, and today I am covering paranormal news. As always, you can find all the episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And I do have one announcement. I already made it in the Discord earlier, but even though I do love doing a show every day of the week, 7 days a week, and I can technically do it, that also is a little bit too much to try to do. So I'll be going back to 5 days a week here. So it'll be every Saturday night, Sunday morning, through every Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So just so everyone knows, that means that the last show of the week, well, for a week, will be this Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And then I'll take 2 days off, and then I'll come back. So, just because I have other things I need to do and want to do, and sometimes I need to just rest, unfortunately. So, I think that's basically it, though, for announcements. Of course, I already have all the articles I'll be talking about in the chat here, and I will include them in the episode description on the YouTube and podcast feeds. Thank you all for being here. I see you all there. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate everyone listening to the podcast and YouTube feeds as well. So we'll see how many of these stories we can get through today. And then, of course, whatever we don't get through today, I'll save for the next news show in 2 days. So I think with that, I can get on to the actual stories. This time, it's all about ghost stories and haunted places. I've noticed that whenever anything major happens in the news regarding UFOs and any kind of government interaction or military interaction, the news stories about experiences with UFOs from regular people, they drop off. All the focus turns to the government and military aspects, which I understand, but and so that doesn't leave much room apparently for the individual experiences. But so this is going to happen every so often. We'll just have a few different news shows in a row with talking about places that are being mentioned in articles on news sites about just that, talking about them, the history and the hauntings and the legends and all those things, and that's what we have for today. So let me get to the first one here. This one is, I have two of them here from Texas, actually. This first one is from 1470kyyyw.com, and the title of this article says, "Beware. This haunted cemetery in Texas will creep you out," of course, because they have to go for the theatrical titles in these stories. So cemeteries are always amazing to me because you hear so many different reports about the general feelings in them. You do hear about some where the feeling, the overall feeling is that of peace and calm and quiet and all of that. And then you have other ones where it doesn't seem to be the case. And I wonder how all that works. What determines what state a cemetery is in terms of energy levels and types and all those things. So this article is talking about the writer is talking about their memories of just basically going to cemeteries as a kid to visit the graves of family members. And of course, they mention the effect that Hollywood had on them. Of course, we know Hollywood usually portrays the paranormal as being always bad, always evil. So that doesn't help. Um, but so let's see here. Just trying to skip through the personal stuff there because that's not really what we're here to talk about here. Um, so this is apparently, now I've heard of different. This is not the only Oakwood Cemetery in the U.S. I think I've heard of others as well. But this one is in Austin, Texas. It's spread out over 40 acres of land and has over 23,000 people buried there. And so the article suggests that that may be why there's been paranormal activity going on there. One of the apparitions said to be there is that of a murder victim in 1885. And basically, according to this article, that murder was never solved. But, so there's reports of that apparition. Sometimes I wonder about those apparitions when it comes to people that are that have something like that happen to them. If they do stay around as people suggest because of the terrible events, or if they move on. I guess it could depend on the personality as well. I don't know. But as far as other reports of paranormal activity there's brightly colored orbs seen with, and then also an apparition of a young woman wailing as she wanders the cemetery. Apparently, mediums have sensed this murder victim's presence there multiple times. Of course, according to them, you never know, unless you actually, I think, spend time with one. But the orbs being seen in these places, that's an amazing thing to me. Sort of talked about that with the last news show. I wonder how often, how if or orbs, whatever they are, or spirits, whatever they are, they do travel between buildings where they somehow feel at home, or like they can stay there and not be bothered, and places out in the open where that have importance to them as well. Go back and forth. Maybe that's why there's in some places you may have things happen, but it's not daily or constant. But just a theory there. There's a video in this article that shows the does a let's see here. Must be a drone drone image or video taken. Just a flyover of the cemetery, so you can all check it out. So yeah, that's that article. I'm always interested in hearing stories about cemeteries and what may go on there, and just the overall feelings people have in them. Sounds like that place may be a little bit unsettled because of the story they're associated with, but I wonder if someone goes in there with no idea of that story, if they would have that same feeling. So, moving on to the next story here. Let's see here. Okay, this one is from, I think I've actually used this, gotten articles from this website before. I have Mix979 or 979fm.com. The title of this one is Haunted Texas. Video reveals Billy, in quotation marks, the ghost at the legendary barn door. And this is apparently a restaurant that is good size, it looks like, based on the picture. And of course, there is one of the rooms or one of the buildings or part of the place is known as the Pecos Depot. And apparently it was originally just that, a depot in that area, constructed in the 1800s on the Texas Pacific Railroad. So, but that actual depot was relocated years later in 1950. And then in 1972 became part of this restaurant and was turned into a bar area, meeting rooms, and extra dining areas for the restaurant. So the article says that after it became part of this restaurant, patrons there started noticing odd things going on in the what they call the old new addition to the restaurant. Some people just had a sense of it. Other people have. Oh, that's a weird noise. Anyway, other people have seen a man in a grimy hat, white shirt, khaki pants, and black shoes. And that is the one that is reportedly known as Billy. The article says that the only thing that the people in this area know about Billy is that he was shot in the depot when it was still a depot, and that he decided to relocate with the building when it was moved. I always wonder about that. You hear about that, how even when buildings are moved, you still have the same apparitions or same energies there. I wonder if they are attached in a way where they have to go with that building, or not if they decide to go. Hard to say, really, without actually, like, I guess, talking with someone like that. But says the employees who reported that they have set up the executive room for the next day's event, and then they come in the next morning and find all the place settings and chairs moved around, crumbs on the floor and rings on the table where it looks like a drink has been set. That's quite the thing to have happen there, because either that stuff is just manifesting, or there is someone there, whether it's a spirit or not, but there's someone there that is finding their way into that room, I'm guessing without setting off any alarms or whatever, and with food and drink, and then just leaving. It says the only thing about the ring that the glass leaves on the table, in other words, the residue from the cup, is that it doesn't fit. The shape doesn't fit the glasses that the barn door uses at the time, as of now. So it's some other kind of glass that is not the same as what they are using. So that's really, seems almost like a time anomaly there, possibly. Although that wouldn't really, I don't know if that would fit, because the building has been moved. So yeah, very that's some very interesting evidence there that is being reported. So maybe it is, I don't know. It's just, either way, whatever's causing it, that's physical evidence of something happening. So I could see myself just finding a place where I'd like to stay after if I'm a ghost and I just want to hang out still in this world, and just finding a restaurant or whatever, a place, and just staying there and relaxing when there's no one there, and then kind of just watching whatever's going on in the public parts of the restaurant. I could see myself or people doing that, really, if they have a choice to stay there for whatever reason. So I don't know, but thought that was a neat story there. So let's see how we're doing for time. Okay, I think we're good. But yeah, I just wanted to share that one. A couple of stories. Had a lot of stories from Texas lately. Seems like But I mean, I guess that maybe just because of the size of the state, I don't know. Derek says, yeah, I'm definitely going to haunt a supermarket. I barely have a choice. Those shelves will be stocked, whether there's people employed there or not. Better be careful, they may have you working for free. But anyway. So yeah, neat story there. Okay, moving on to the next one here. For those that don't know, that I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but Derek is he has his own YouTube channel where he's known as the Night Stalker. That's Stocker, because he actually does stock shelves in grocery stores, in a grocery store at night. So there's that whole story in case you're not aware somehow. So this next one here is from weirdnj.com, which is, of course, Weird, New Jersey. And this one, the title is Fort Mifflin Paranormal Investigation. I've heard of this location before. I've seen it on TV in some of the paranormal investigation shows. But it sounds like there may be something to it. So this is a fort that is it sits in the it is located just across the Delaware River from National Park, New Jersey, and it's on the edge of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So it's known as the fort that saved America due to its involvement in the Revolutionary and Civil Wars in the U.S. So let's see here. Looking at the rest of this here. And it talks about that. All right, just gotta scroll through. It has images here in the article of the place. So there are apparently at this point over the years, it says hundreds of people have reported seeing the same apparitions in the same buildings. So that's always amazing when you have multiple reports from people that don't know each other of seeing the same apparitions. Says that the British began construction on the fort in 1771, but didn't finish it due to growing tensions with the colonists. So, of course, after that, the fort was finished eventually. And let's see here, the colonists, the revolutionary soldiers did finish it. And so goes over the history of the place. But it says that let's see here. Talks a little more about the history, has some images. So goes into some of the more gruesome details of war, which we don't really need to go into. It says the fort was reconstructed in 1794 and used as a military outpost during the War of 1812. And then, of course, used again in the Civil War. So, let's see here. Apparently, there's apparition of the only person executed in the place, and this was a soldier who was a deserter, I believe it says. And he was executed at the fort on August 26th, 1864, and his apparition is said to be there still, and of course not to be in the best of moods there, I'm guessing, due to the history and everything. Could also be I do think a lot of these places, it's always hard to tell if it's how much of that is an actual spirit of someone that passed there, and how much is people putting their energy into a place, knowing that, and then having that take its own form over time because of that. So there's an apparition of a screaming woman in the officers' headquarters There's a blacksmith who is um, likes to mess with the doors in the blacksmith shop. It says that there is an actual tour guide. I'm guessing this means they're talking about the spirit of a tour guide. Talk about staying there and doing your job even after you pass. Logan is demanding attention right now. She's up on my shoulder. At least her front paws were. It says a lamplighter at the soldiers' barracks. Wonder if they see lights there. A little girl in the artillery shed. And another man who appears to be sick in the hospital. So that's a lot of apparitions. And apparently, again, the beginning of the article said that a lot of these apparitions are seen over many years by different people who appear to be, and the apparitions appear to be what the ones that are reported over and over and over again. So, just neat article there. I don't doubt it. When an article says hundreds of people have had experiences there, to me, even if you take that down to, divided by 10, that's still a lot of sightings or experiences. So, it could be a ghost giving other ghosts human tours, possibly. Yeah, this place is chock full of people. It's wild. Yeah, I mean, there's people that do still go there, I'm sure, and keep the place all together and preserved and all that. So, makes you wonder how much happens there during the daytime versus at night. Maybe there's a lot more activity during the day than people realize. I always wonder about that in places where there's a lot of people, living people, or physical people. How much activity goes unnoticed because you just figure, oh, it's that person in that other room. So, okay. So, yeah, that's that article. I think I can move on to the next one here. Actually, let me look and see here what I have left. Okay. I have two left here. I think I can kind of get through these last couple pretty quick. This next one is actually not so much a haunted place to begin with, but it's I should probably do the actual. The website is spectrumnews1.com. Title is Phantom History House, Tampa's Paranormal Bed and Breakfast. But what's different about this is that the house is set up to sort of as a tribute to the paranormal, with antiques that the owners have collected and sort of themed rooms. And so, yeah, it's just a neat concept, and I wonder if it does draw any paranormal activity. So, there's not a ton to talk about in that one, just the fact that it's an amazing concept. And they're mentioning here in the article that, at least as of this article, they are still booking rooms. So, that seems like a place I wouldn't mind going someday. One of the objects that they have in there is a coffee table with a Ouija board carved into it. So I almost wonder how much energy that can draw, especially if you have people that are going in there that are maybe freaked out by that item itself. What kind of energy that can draw in. So just want to mention that one. And it's a short article, so the last one here is from cornwalllive.com. This is it's a lot more of a historical piece about let me see here, a pub or a restaurant, nightclub. I'm sorry. So this is the title says Cornwall's haunted nightclub, The Loft, which was the absolutely bonkers place to be. So it says it opened in 1992 and closed 7 years later. So this is a lot about just that history of that place and what went on there at the time. But so the let's see here. Apparently, there was a oops. Looking at this here. So the people that worked there and stayed there had a lot of memories there. It says, and says that looking for the part about the paranormal aspects. So let's see here. I'm scrolling through, and it says originally the building underwent a lot of changes over the years, expanding and having different things in different parts of the room, a pool room, and so let's see here. Looking at this here, trying to find. I know there was a section in this article here. So it says here that one of the owners thought that said everyone thought there was a ghost that was from the cafe that used to be underneath everything. Says that the it doesn't talk about why they said it was haunted. I wonder if it was just a feeling. So yeah, it doesn't talk a lot about paranormal, but it does seem to just be about this nostalgia, and I wonder if that can create its own energy. Just memories of good times in a place can leave behind energy. I'd be curious to know what goes on there now, and if there is any energy from all that left behind. So apparently I didn't need to include this one, but still, I always like to hear about these places, and I think history in and of itself can be haunting in a way. So that's all I have for today. I think I'll have to remember now for the next news show to only pick out 4 stories. But anyway, I'm trying to do some new formatting here for the show for possible future uses. So, yeah, thank you all for being here and listening. And yeah, that's a good question. Derek says, I wonder if people have weird dreams when they sleep there more often than a regular. But the Tampa one, yeah, could be. So thank you all for listening, and I will be back tomorrow with true paranormal stories from the web on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone.